I used to try and tell a wider, like, let me talk to you about the TAM of Bloom story.
Yeah, you don't have to do that here if you don't
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not going to, because I think what resonates more is Bloom is deeply personal.
Yeah.
And then I realized that my personal experience is replicable across so many other people's lived experiences as well. So I grew up, yes, very privileged in the Silicon Valley. My parents were engineers, but again, we had that scarcity mindset. We also sent money home. So, I remember my dad would put me in the car seat and we'd like drive to this hole in the wall Western Union place and he'd give them cash and they'd send it on. And to this day, we still send money home to India. The method of sending it has changed, but we still do. And I think what really frustrated me about this is working in fintech, my exes include MasterCard and Starling Bank and Bud and Klarna.
Yeah. Wow.
It was like, cool, we're building some really interesting stuff. But everything that's being built for immigrants is like, let's send money away. Let's send it home. And that's great. Like there's a reason, there's a cultural and familial duty to sending money home. But what about building wealth where we are? And my parents very much benefited from the fact that my aunt immigrated before my mom. And she was working at IBM with her husband. And so they were earning quite well and had enough to find a financial planner and advisor. And so my mom was getting secondhand like advice through my aunt.
Nice.
So my aunt was like, you should set up a 529 fund for Nina, or like, well, I didn't even exist and I wasn't even an idea, right? It was like for your children. My mom was like, what is that? And a 529 is a tax efficient vehicle for education, right? And it was very interesting to starkly see myself compared to other people that I know from immigrant backgrounds who their parents had no idea about, a 529 or various investment vehicles. And now they either are saddled with student loan debt or weren't able to go to uni, whereas I kind of had the privilege of not only doing my bachelor's, but also a master's degree and don't have any student loan debt off the back of that. So this is all to say that Bloom was very much, okay, this immigrant experience is very unique. There are certain behaviors that across every culture are going to be the same. So remittances is one. But then we kept finding this group savings mechanism, which I know from my parents. So in Taiwan and Chinese-speaking places, we call it hui. But in India, we call it chit funds or kitties. My understanding is in Tagalog, it's paliwagan, but it's also called tanda in Mexico and hegbad in Somalia, all these different names for it. And it's very communal, which is another thing that immigrants have in common. When, when VCs talk about community, like a community is not a Slack channel. A community, like...
Say it louder for the people in the back. A community is not a Slack channel, damn it.
A community is not a Slack channel. And I really think you have a community when people are coming together on their own accord within that community. I think you definitely have that with your community. But, the nature of immigrant communities is they do come together because they are outsiders, they're newcomers in a new place, and so they seek familiarity, so they form a community. And so whether that is tied together by the mosque or the church or the market,
right,
there are common meeting points, physical meeting points, but also common behaviors that tie people together. And so Bloom was born out of realizing that, okay, actually, yes, every culture is unique and beautiful in its own way and down to even tribal differences, but we are still taking part in some very easily replicable behaviors that can be made into specific financial products and services that are better serving us. And I guarantee you Barclays and, I mean, I'm not picking on Barclays, but like Citibank or whoever, like these high street banks, frankly don't care. They don't care. And
they don't have any real incentive to care.
They don't. And there's also this misconception that like, oh, immigrants are poor. And while that might be true initially, I very much believe in this concept of build your perfect customer. So just because your perfect customer is not a prime customer today, doesn't mean that they can't be in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
And so with our first product, Bloom Circles, we've digitized an analog behavior, but it actually lends itself very nicely to underwriting because people are putting aside a set amount of money every month or every week or whatever. And so now it's like, oh, cool, we can unlock credit underwriting opportunities here. We can create that perfect customer by helping them build their credit score.
Right.
And now what does that mean for us in terms of, can we go into lending products? Are there very specific things like immigration fees, you know, or legal fees or whatever it might be? Small businesses. I think the stat is in the UK, at least, and probably more so in the US, immigrants are 5 times more likely to start a business than their native-born counterparts.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for us in terms of small business growth? Can we build a product around that? It's really exciting. And like the possibilities are endless and I get so excited about it. And when I try to quantify it, it's like, originally I was like, oh, maybe there's like a few $100 million. Then I was like, oh no, this is $1 billion. Oh, bigger than that.
Yeah.
You know? And so
this is bigger than any audience the bank is after.
Exactly. And so, you know, I really hope that they're paying attention because we are coming for their immigrant customers.
Yeah. So we're coming for you.